I am joined today by one of my favorite people in the world. I've been following her for years. We've chatted many times, haven't we? Um,
Yeah.
I've been seeing you. It's Annie Cyrus. Is it? I've always called you Annie, but just to be clear, is Annie okay?
It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have seen you. Obviously, we're friends on Facebook, and I've seen you express some very interesting opinions on what is going on in your country, in America, and what's going on in the Middle East. And I want to ask you about all of that because I'm dying to hear it. But before I do, just for people who aren't familiar with you, very, very briefly, I know you're tired of telling this story, but just give us a little couple of minutes about your background to put into context for people who aren't familiar with you. Just
Sure.
a brief overview.
I actually like doing that over and over, not the long version, because that's where my credibility comes in. Because a lot of people forget, and then they tell me things that makes fun. I make fun of them, like, "Hey, by the way, this is my background. I was born and raised in Iran. You might call it Iran, and I was born and raised in Iran after the '79 revolution. So I was born into the Islamic version of the country, into a family that my father was Islamic leader, my mother was a Quran teacher by force, I'll say that. But I pretty much grew up a full on Muslim,
Mhm.
not by heart, by training, full on Muslim. The whole tradition of at age 9 becoming an adult woman, committing crimes against Sharia, like singing publicly, going to parties with boys, accidentally showing my hair, having nail polish, the usual of Sharia courts. And then my father pretty much sold me to a man at age 13, and I became somebody's wife. And my wonderful, brave, courageous, and wise grandmother, which was my mom's mom, she pretty much came up with the money, hired the smugglers, and got me out of the country at age 15, where I was smuggled to Turkey. I spent 3 years of my life in Turkey as a refugee under UN protection until I got my way to America through proper channels with a welcome to US letter and an I-94 visa, which is a refugee visa. So I didn't jump over borders. And then I made it to America when I was 18. And I pretty much fell in love with America very quickly. And when my language was fairly okay for people to understand English, my English, and when I became a citizen, I started publicly talking. Why did I wait that long? I get that question a lot because I didn't want anybody saying I'm doing what I'm doing to get my citizenship, to get my green card, to get my case going, yada, yada, yada. I was that smart back then. I'm 41, by the way. So I've been in America for about 24 years. I waited until I had all of my legal paperwork, all of my life together, my career, my job, my culture, everything was in place. So nobody could come at me for, oh, she's saying what she's saying to get green card or to make money or whatever. And then from there in 2015, I started speaking out against Islam, Islamization of the West altogether. I saw the UK turn before even you guys saw it happening, and I was just screaming on top of my lungs like, "People, watch out!" I put out a condolences to London when Mayor Khan became Mayor Khan, and a lot of people were like, "You don't know him, and it's just few years." It was like, no, he's permanently going to be there, and he's going to turn that whole area into Islamabad. And I guess I was right. But that's my short clip, very quick version of 18 years before making it to America.
Okay. Um, you're how are you treated in America? What do you do with yourself in America nowadays? You're podcasting? Is that you are speaking out? Do you get speaking engagements? Are people listening to you? Do you get a good response? What sort of what how is America treating you?
I did
Mm.
from 2015 until 2018. I was invited, like I did over 183 speaking engagements across the country. I was invited on all the shows, including Sean Hannity. I
Oh,
was the voice. But then in 2018, it died. And I'll tell you why. Nobody's going to like what I'm about to say. Well,
well,
you
well,
might. 2015, when I came out and I became the internet sensation due to a video of me frustrated saying to people that Hussein Obama got it all twisted after his speech of saying, "Let me be clear, Islam is part of America." Immediately, I did a video saying, "Let me be clear, Islam cannot be part of anything. It will start as being part of it, and then it will consume it and it will become it. That was intriguing for most Americans because, well, we didn't like Obama. And then Trump came to office.
Mhm.
And then gradually, any criticism was not allowed of Muslims, of Trump administration towards Muslims. So I gradually faded away. Now I didn't give up. I have a loyal group of supporters who still listen, who spread my message. But my speaking engagement is down to maybe 5 or 6 a year, if that. Some churches canceled me due to threats. I'll say that. When my bounty list started building up to where we're at 12 now, a lot of people stopped affiliating with me due to fear of them getting blown up or them getting killed. So, longest story, now we're at a point where I am shadow banned on all platforms except Substack. That include X of Elon Musk. I'm pretty much removed from all networks except my own channels and Worldview Tube, where I have a daily show. And I have not been invited to anyone's program, definitely not since January of this year, except Brennan House, who has me on his show regularly on updates. And now you. Other than that, that's it. I'm just quietly in the corner doing my thing.
Why? What did you say at 2018 that stopped it?
Well, 2018 was a turning point of Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib coming in.
Right.
The wave of peaceful Islam was proven through elections. The wave of peaceful Islam and misunderstood radical Muslims started becoming more of the narrative through our schools, through our city halls. So the more I said what I was saying until day before, the more I became the
Right. The
paranoid
environment that
Islamophobe.
changed rather than you. Okay.
SPLC called me 7 times a hate group. Now, I may not be fluent in English, but I'm pretty sure in order to be a group, you need to be more than one person. But to them, I was apparently more than one person to be a hate group 7 times. And also, the narrative inside our administration through Trump administration changed. Remember, Trump came in 2017 yelling and screaming on cameras that Qatar needs to be stopped because they're funding Hamas, they're funding terrorism, they're giving him safe haven. Yet, 2018, we had the Emir of Qatar in White House having dinner with Trump, making arms deals.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started having more interfaith dialogue involved in the administration. And CARE was not only not banned or their 501c revoked, but they gained more momentum through Ilhan Omar and Rashida into the Congress. So those were the shifts that made me the bad guy, made me more on the social media. All platforms started censoring in shadow. I went from videos of 500,000, 700,000, 1 million views to barely 100 views. And also, people, here's the problem. I'm not going to say Americans, all Western population, they love slipping into comfort zone of my
Mm-hmm.
guy's in office. I'm good. My job is done. I'll worry about it later. That also came in 2016, end of 2016. I did a video saying, I'm glad Trump won, but don't put your guards down. Nobody listened. Nobody caught up with the fact that it does. And this isn't about Trump as an individual. This is about my understanding that it doesn't matter who the person is in power. The Islamic societies have always had the power and money to buy them one way or another.
What
We
we
have,
need is a leader who can't be bought by them. And of course, in 2016, 2015, Trump was selling himself to the public as someone who can't be bought. Wasn't his that was one of his big pitches, wasn't it? Talking about the corruption in American politics and how all the lobbyists are buying the members of Congress. This was a big pitch of his. I can't be bought. I think his first international trip in his first term was to Saudi Arabia.
yes.
And he gave it all this about we're going to attack Muslims, hate us, and then he went straight to Saudi Arabia, first trip, and he's doing similar things this time. I don't want to get too far down that road yet, but let's talk first about the recent peace agreement, if we can call it that,
You
between
mean,
Israel and Hamas and Trump's role in that. First of all, take us through what the peace deal is, what it means, what they have actually agreed, what has happened since, and are we giving Trump this victory lap when there's nothing actually to be victorious about? This is my impression. So, what's in this peace deal?
Okay, let's call it what it is, a deal between four billionaires.
Right,
That's what it is. It
like
is
it.
not a peace deal. It is not a war deal. It's just a peace between a deal between 4 billion millionaires.
Mhm.
And for your audience, we're referring to Qatar, Turkey, Egypt, United States of America leaders. That's who I'm referring to. If you go and look at the agreement, you'll see those are the four signatories,
Right.
leaders of Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, and United States of America. Now, what's in it? Supposedly 20 points. Well, it started with 21. Immediately, one was removed. We are down to 20 points. 20 points of plan where Israel will receive absolute peace. No more drones and bombs are dropped on their heads, and nobody's going to kidnap their people, rape them, kill them.
Mhm.
Gaza will become its own governed area. Palestine will be recognized as a state via Israel and the US. Um, Hamas will disarm, agree to the terms, and be given amnesty to either exit Gaza or stay and become just a resident of Gaza. And a transitional government will be put in place, combination of different countries. Leader will be Trump, though he's very busy, but out of goodness of his heart, when everybody begged him on their knees saying, unless you're leading this government, nobody can do it, he accepted it. Just in case if you're not picking up the sarcasm, it is on volume 100. And Tony Blair, who will manage the new government of Gaza, uh, selected by him of technocrat Palestinians.
Mhm.
This is the short version of what is in there. The phase one was supposed to be as followed: ceasefire when both parties, being Israel and Hamas, when they agree to these terms, a ceasefire will be in place. Israel will pull their military out of Gaza, completely clearing out. They will reopen the border, allow aid into Gaza, and Hamas will release all hostages, dead or alive, 47 of them. And in return, Israel will release 1,950 alive prisoners, including 250 of them convicted of murder, rape, plot of terrorism, building bombs, you name it.
Mhm.
And also, they will release, I believe the number was 150 dead bodies of Hamas soldiers. That's what was on the paper. But here where we are today, 20 Israeli hostages have been released alive. 7 of the 27 dead bodies have been released. And Hamas is still holding. They are claiming they don't have the bodies and they don't know how to find them. But technically, they still have the remaining dead bodies of hostages. In return, Israel has released all of the 1,950 prisoners. They have released 54 dead bodies of Hamas soldiers. Israel has pulled back their military, reopened the border, aids going into Gaza. However, Hamas is the government. Hamas still has arms, and Hamas has killed over 36 Palestinians since 10 days ago or 12 days ago of the ceasefire. That's where we're at.
What? Why did Israel agree to the? I mean, when I first saw it, and I saw all these prisoners that Israel agreed to release, that
Mhm.
was my first thought. Why on earth has Israel agreed to this?
This
Why
is
has
why.
Israel agreed to this? What's
This
that?
is why. This is 24 pages that I have printed this morning. It is the conclusion of the International Court of Justice through UN.
Right.
The subject is obligation of Israel in relation to the presence and activities of the United Nations, other international organizations, and third estate, and in a relation on the occupied Palestinian territory.
Right. Explain that to us.
Okay, so UN on December of 2024 came and said we're gonna open now United Nations International Court of Justice, which is pretty much a joke, however very powerful though. They opened a new case into investigating Israel's actions toward UN rules, third country rules, and also their involvement in occupying the
Hmm.
Palestinian territory. Since December of 2024 until today, they have dragged IDF, Israeli military, Israeli government, Bibi himself. By the way, so I want to put an insert here. I disagree with Bibi 99% of what he does. So I'm not a Bibi girl, and he doesn't pay me to say what I say. However, logic always applies into my reporting. Bibi has been literally, his arm has been twisted every single day since December to say yes, yes, and yes. Though they have agreed to everything to this deal of Trump, today they were still found guilty by UN's court. They were called occupiers who are using a starvation as a weapon. That is why Bibi kept saying yes. Because number one, as much as we might laugh at UN, to this day, they still hold power.
Hmm.
So if they kept convicting Bibi and his government and Israelis through these 24-page documentations, this is more green light for the Islamic countries to keep attacking Israel under the occupying territory. This is why Israel is accepting. Now,
Right.
the better question is why would Trump, when I reported on the 20 point deal originally on my Substack, I said, who would have thought that these 20 points, that 10 out of 20 are so inhuman and disgusting that would ever come from a Republican American president?
Mhm.
That's a better question. Why would the guy who supposedly is going down in history as the strongest ally of Israel, the man who cannot be bought, the man who the first time, as you said, constantly said, we have an Islam problem, we have Muslim problem, did the Muslim ban, why would this guy ever imagine, let alone offer amnesty to Hamas soldiers who have killed, tortured, kidnapped, raped innocent people? That's a better question.
And what's your answer?
My answer?
Mhm.
Well, he has no choice. Qatar owns him.
Okay.
Qatar owns him and his entire family for 92 years left on that. His ego is so bruised by not winning that peace prize that he will sell every single one of us to Muslims for next year to get the next one. He already announced. Mike Johnson already announced that Mike Johnson and somebody from Knesset of Israel are going to do everything in their power to guarantee Trump is going to win the Peace Prize of 2026. Because Trump is chasing after a legacy that he thinks is a good legacy.
It's quite extraordinary and in some ways so simple. And people will sort of go, dismiss what we're saying, because I agree with you entirely on this. They'll dismiss it. Come on, it has to be more complicated than that. No, it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. I think Trump probably doesn't know or care about a lot of what is going on. What he cares about is his own advancement, his own aggrandizement. And he wants that Nobel Peace Prize so badly that he doesn't give a damn how he gets it or what the outcome of these agreements that he probably doesn't even know what's in them. And my word, did he enjoy that victory lap he took, with all the world leaders flying in to stand behind him, and Time magazine putting this portrait of him and an upward photograph making him look big. He loved that. And that is really quite simply a big reason why this happened. Genuinely.
Yes.
Qatar owning him. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. Okay. So this is no secret again. I can't say that I had to go back alleys, receive paperwork from some stranger in a mask. It's public record. But it's one of those public records that people prefer to not look at because,
Mm,
people tend to reject knowledge because it hurts too much. Um, Jared Kushner
mhm.
owns a building in New York. The address for of believers, the address is 666 Fifth Avenue. Just a little bit of, icing on the cake there. It is supposedly the biggest business building with units. When he bought it, it was a bad business deal. In 2017-18, he was about to go under pretty fast. A management company came up and said, "Hey, Jared, listen, we're going to lease this building for 99 years. We're going to sign a contract right now and we're going to pay you the whole 99 years up front." They bailed him out of the bankruptcy. He took the money. Everything was good. Victor Lab, woohoo! I just saved my other mistake of real estate. Apparently, he studied Trump's mistakes instead of Trump's success when it comes to real estate. And then came out that the management company is owned by Qatar's government, not private, Qatar's government bank. And that is how they ended up having Jared Kushner under the thumb for 99 years. Now, this was 2018. So when we take out the 7 years that they have already owned him, 92 years left. From there, and that's the thing, I have put this on a Substack to make it easy to connect the dots. That's exactly when Trump went from Qatar bad, Qatar needs to be boycotted, Qatar needs to be blah, 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 to inviting Emir of Qatar to the White House. That was the first time President Trump mixed business and pleasure together. He
Well,
allowed the Qatar Emir to come into White House right after Kushner was bailed out by the Qatari bank. Emir comes to White House, has dinner, get a brand new arms deal, and go home. And from there, if you track Trump's move with Qatar, it's downhill from there to where now Qatar is our greatest ally. The moment he said that on camera, I was waiting for Christians and Jews to blow a gasket because our greatest ally in history, of modern history, has been Israel. How did Qatar suddenly become our greatest ally in the Middle East? But that's where it goes. 99 years of owning Kushner. And that a lot of people said, yes, first of all, somebody cannot be bought. That is impossible. We all can. Maybe not through money. Someone like Trump is easy to be bought. Stroke his ego.
mhm.
You own him. An enemy learned that from the first time. How do you think suddenly all of these Muslim Arab countries are becoming our allies? They learn to stroke his ego. That's how you buy Trump. Also, another way is he may have enough money not to be bought. He doesn't even take salary. Okay, fine. What about his family members, his
Mhm.
sons, his daughter, his son in law?
Mm.
That is how Qatar infiltrated Trump.
And they're continuing that. I mean, the jetliner they gave him. He's even just I may not be I maybe it's Qatar is going to be building a military base. Is it
Yes,
in Idaho?
yes,
So a foreign military is going to have its base on US soil. That's how close Qatar and Donald Trump have become. And like you say, it's not, I'm old enough to remember when he was not quite so praiseworthy about Qatar. And just to be clear, for those who don't know, Jared Kushner is Trump's son-in-law and very much a business operator on his behalf.
yes. And right now, if you look, here's where you find Kushner's footstep again.
Mhm,
This supposedly everlasting peace. Kushner was a negotiator.
mhm. Yeah.
Kushner was the one sitting with Erdogan of Turkey and Emir of Qatar and President of Egypt. Kushner was there.
Mhm.
Trump made one trip. The
True.
rest of it been Witkoff and Kushner.
Mhm,
So regardless of how, and that's the thing, a lot of people, as you know, I've been under attack heavily for last 3 months for saying what I say. Well, it's more. It's 5 months ago when I started sounding the alarm that be careful, Trump is selling us to Middle East.
mhm,
Everybody came at me, which is fine. They'll see it soon enough that I'm not worried about it.
mhm.
But instead of saying, okay, Jared, you already messed up, stay away, Trump made him even more involved. How do you get someone who makes bad business decisions and it's so weak that can be very easily bought? You don't push him deeper into your business of a president of a country. Again, he has mixed business, personal business with business of our country, and people tend to not want to see it. I said it flat out, said if this was Hunter Biden
Oh
instead
God.
of Kushner, we would be so up in arms and screaming and asking for impeachment and all of that. But when it comes to Trump, we look the other way. I had someone commenting something interesting on one of my posts, which was, "I'm glad you're not leading this deal. Your patients are of a 3-year-old." That's when I had to remind him, "Hello, I have dealt with Islam for 41 years. That's how old I am. My patients aren't of a 3-year-old. My knowledge is of a 41-year-old about Islam. I'm not out of patience. I'm not expecting the deal to go through. No, I'm expecting the deal to be never, don't even mention a deal. You don't make a deal with these people." But people prefer to think Trump is this genius. That's
Oh,
another reason he's doing it. He wants to keep the title, the crown of master of all deals. It doesn't matter. He's making deals with devil, and it
mhm.
still doesn't care because he cares about that crown. He wants to be the one who's going to go down in history as master of deals, the guy who made all the deals, even if they were all wrong. Who cares? Nobody mentions that. So people praise him for master of making deals. You see what you see in front of you. A lot is going on behind the scene. And my fight again is, I know what goes on with Muslims. I don't need to know Trump's plan. I don't care what's Trump's plan. Whatever his plan is, he's going to fail. Just like we see, he had to send JD Vance to Israel on
Yeah,
Tuesday to
that's it.
keep face. It went down so badly that it's like, JD, go fix it.
So effectively, no, I want to get back to Trump being bought in a minute, but just so effectively, what this deal has achieved nothing at all. So
Oh, no, no, no. That's an understatement. No, no. This deal has achieved freedom of 250 trained jihadists. That's important.
so
To have 250 trained jihadists who have committed the act before to be back on the streets of we don't know where. They were dropped off at certain locations, but it's not like they were in exile or another prison. They were freed. Just recently, United States of America, in America, we arrested a man in Louisiana who was a part of planning and executing October 7th in Gaza. Where do you think the rest of the 250 of them are? Maybe 5 of them stay in Gaza to help. The rest of them are spreading in Western countries.
mhm.
That is a huge achievement for the enemy. So Trump made sure our enemy has been enabled again, because this isn't his first time in second term. This is his second time doing this.
And I'm going to ask you about that second time now, but just in terms of what's happening in between Israel and Hamas, basically it's going to start up again as soon as the dust settles. Israel and Hamas will be going at it again.
Well, they already did over the weekend.
So it's we're back to square one. It has achieved nothing,
Exactly.
except as you
Nothing.
say. So what's the second one? What's the second time that Trump has done this?
Oh no, this was the second time. The
Okay,
first
what
time
was
was the first time was when he bragged about it proudly that this is how much your ego can
Mm,
be exposing you if people are paying attention. Was during the 12 days war of Israel and Iran, where he saved the supreme leader of Iran's life. He
yes.
saved a monster's life who came out of his bunker, and within 4 weeks after that day of coming out of his bunker, he ended up ordering the death penalty of over 1,200 Iranians accused of spying for Israel, though there was no evidence. So I have said it, I'll say it again. For those of you who praise Trump thinking he deserves a peace prize, he has blood of innocent people on his hand through his deals, and 1,200 of them are my fellow Iranians. So,
Right.
yes, this is personal.
You're going to have to take us through that in a little bit. It was one of the things I was going to ask you about anyway. Was the U.S. Engagement, I suppose, with Iran recently. explain all of this to people who have no idea what you're talking about. So let's start from the beginning. So he went in and attacked Iran.
No. So from the beginning is
From the beginning.
in a very early morning, Israel launched an attack on Iran. Now, I need to be careful. This attack was a retaliation. So Israel didn't invade Iran. 3 weeks before, for first time in history of Islamic Republic of Iran being 47 years, Iran directly started shooting missiles at Israel. So Iran started the war. 3 weeks later, Israel went into Iran. Within 24 hours, more than 70, that's 70, more than 70 heads of IRGC and Iran military were dead. It was such a coordinated attack that the entire regime of Iran were running, trying, getting into bunkers. The first person to be put into the bunker was Khamenei, the supreme leader, and both his sons. They shot literally within 12 hours after the first strike. Khamenei and his two sons were in the bunker. And then the rest of them, as they could get away, some couldn't. For 12 days, Israel managed to disassemble the entire regime of Iran in power and achieve something that in the entire history of Iran, for 2,700 years of Persia to Iran, has never happened. And that was for supreme leader to hand over power to the military. No war has ever forced the leader of either the king, the supreme leader, the president, whatever the situation of Iran has been, to hand over power to military. So IRGC came in control. They took power and started running the war. They were barely holding on. It was at a point where 5 days later, as I was reporting, I repeatedly said, President Trump, stay out of it. President Trump, stay out of it. I had people who cheered me for saying we shouldn't go to war with Iran. They weren't connecting my reasoning. There were those who are like, you should go back to where you come from, your alliances with the regime. I'm like, okay, I don't even care who thinks of me, right? Who thinks what I think right now? It's not important. Trump, stay out of Iran. I was interviewed, I was asked, and I said, he will butt in. And he did. On day 11, he sent our guys to drop B-2 bombs on what he claimed to destroy the 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. They did it. They came back. Everybody's like, that's it. Iran's done, blah, 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 blah. Next day, he negotiated a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Literally next day. He came out taking all the credits, of course, because that's everything he does is for credit.
Yeah.
I came out and said, let's not forget. I put out, actually, there's a Substack titled Israel Crippled Iran and They Can Finish Them. Said credit is due to Israel, their military, and their leadership. This attack was absolutely amazing. I was put in a very hard position. My heart was bleeding for the citizens who were killed. It's war; there are casualties. I was dancing around my kitchen knowing Khamenei is trapped in a bunker. On the other hand, I would receive news like the Iran attacked back and innocent Jewish people in a resident area died. As an American, I was torn apart by my fellow Americans being called all sort of names. Though, if you don't mind me bragging, during the 12 days war, I was recognized by Substack as the most accurate, unbiased reporter. Nice. Imagine how hard it is to do that when you're an Iranian American and you fight for Israel because you're a Christian. I still kept it unbiased enough to become the most unbiased reporter. And I was ranking so high. I'm proud to say one day I actually surpassed Laura Logan as a reporter of foreign policy on Substack. But my own fellow Americans, the only thing they did to me was hate on me, regardless of the sides.
So, just to put that in a nutshell, Israel, you believe, had Iran
done.
The Ayatollah, the whole thing done.
Done.
And then Trump came along and wrecked it. by
Exactly.
wanting to
Trump
take
came
credit
in.
for who
Now,
did it.
mind you, to this day, we do not have confirmation of these B2 supposedly demolishing any of the sites.
Right.
We do have confirmation that I put out, and everybody again fought me. We have confirmation that Iran moved over 400 kilograms of enriched uranium from Natanz before B2s dropped. Trump denied it. Pete Hegseth denied it. But then 3 weeks later, the agency came out and said, we can confirm that we have lost track of 400 kilograms of enriched uranium. I immediately came out and said, you're overlooking the Kolang mountain in Iran. Everybody was like, are you going to put an end to it? Are you going to accept that US finished the nuclear? I'm like, yeah, I will do that if it was real. And now a month ago, our own government in America came out saying, we are going to acknowledge that Kolang Mountain is where they moved the enriched uranium, and it was already pre-built another nuclear facility that they are resuming to build the bomb. So technically, our B2s didn't achieve squad. It cost American tax dollars, but Trump isn't the guy to come out and say, I celebrated too soon. He will come out and say, I did it. To this day, he says, if we didn't drop those B2s, he literally said, if we didn't drop those B2s, the peace deal with Hamas wouldn't happen. Like, what does that have to do with anything? But he's going to claim if he would butt out, if he wouldn't drop those bombs, if he wouldn't go, of course he's going to get a ceasefire out of the mullahs. They were done. They were hoping somebody's going to butt in and get a ceasefire, and Trump was the one to do it. Israel was finishing them. There were confirmed 4 airplanes left Iran with family members of the heads of government. They started shipping their family members out. They were seeing their last days. It was the first time in 47 years that the son of the king of Iran, Prince Pahlavi, started talking publicly. He even came out with a 100-day plan after the fall of regime. He started shaking hands with all the European leaders. Trump refused to even answer his call. Trump isn't going to let these mullahs go down. He doesn't want a Pahlavi in Iran. None of the American leaders do. But even with that, some of our Congress members started sitting down with the son of King of Iran. He was ready to take power. But Trump came, and as always, another American president throwing lifeline at the regime of Iran.
And Israel had Iran on the ropes. Israel had Hamas on the ropes.
Mhm.
He has scuppered both of them
Yes, and here's the thing.
while taking a victory lap for having solved it.
And thinking he deserves a peace deal because he ended wars.
Mhm.
He doesn't even understand. I don't think if you ask him to define the word peace, I don't think he knows what it means. Peace isn't about quiet.
Mhm. Mhm.
You don't end every war through ceasefire
Mhm.
because ceasefire is a temporary band-aid. Everybody knows it. You had majority of Iranian Americans screaming on their screens on their social media telling Trump that he'll never have their vote. Republican Party lost almost 70% of Iranian American votes after that. Now, I walked away from Republican Party 9 years ago, but I know of my fellow Iranians who walked away. They're done. They're done. After what Trump did, Iranians in America are like, wait, on your campaign, you said you're with the people of Iran. You said if opportunity arises, you will help us topple this regime. What did you do? They were in absolute disbelief. I wasn't, because I never bought it. I didn't. I started spotting his change almost 2 years ago. He didn't have my vote. He didn't have my support. I wasn't going to get behind him or believe a word that came out of his mouth.
So you
But
didn't.
most Iranians aren't as involved as I am to know what's happening.
Sorry, my dog is here, really annoying me. Stop. So I was just going to ask, you didn't vote for him last year?
No, I
No.
voted for myself 2024.
Okay. Is that a real? Were you actually on the ballot paper?
No, I wasn't on the ballot paper. I wrote my name. So I have learned in order not to, when you don't vote for this side, in order for your vote not to go, support or whatever, I just write my own name. I've been doing it for a few years now.
Okay, that's
So I
interesting.
just write my own name. But no, I did not vote for neither Kamala or Trump. I did vote for him in 2016. I did vote for him in 2020, but I did not vote for him in 2024.
What happened between 2020 and 2024? Because he wasn't in power then. What was he? What was it? The Qatar? What was it? The
For
what was?
me,
Yeah, between 2020 and 2024, you voted for him in 2020, but not 24. What happened? Because he wasn't in power then. So what did he do?
so this one is not about journalism. This one is my personal life philosophy.
Right.
I have learned in life revenge is an ugly thing.
Mm-hmm.
Trump didn't come back in 24 for MAGA
No.
nor Americans. He
Mhm.
came back for his revenge.
Yeah.
And that is what was my reasoning. I am not, I have seen revenge drive good people, good hearted people into absolute pitch dark. I watched it. And he came back for his revenge. He's still trying to take revenge.
Mm-hmm.
The moment anyone criticized him, he put out in his Truth Social and called his own supporters, my former supporters who are stupid over Epstein file. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
That is a man who is only caring for his revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the peace. He still thinks because of election fraud, if he would come back in 2020, a lot more would be achieved. He would get his peace deal. He would peace prize. He would become the president of such and such. He is working towards his revenge, and I know that's a dangerous agenda. That's why he didn't have my vote.
Do you know how refreshing it is, honestly, to hear this? Because you and I have exactly the same view of him. I think he's a very simple man underneath it all. He's utterly governed by his ego. It's the most important thing, and he's very, very dangerous because he's stomping around the world, putting himself on the stage, taking credit for this, that, and the other, and actually just making everything worse because he doesn't know what he's doing. It's so refreshing. But I can imagine saying that in America. I mean, I made some videos against him last year, just in the run up to the election. And my word, the furious response that people get, it's irrational. There's an irrational view of him that if you criticize him at all, people go crazy. I can only imagine what it's like over there. You on your Facebook, just to stay on topic, but a little bit of a different twinge to it, if you like. You speaking of a red-green axis developing in the Middle East now. Tell me about that.
So, I I have come to a new but let me touch on what you just said. It is impossible to try to survive saying what I say in America. And I'll say this because as I speak to you right now, I've been asking my Substack subscribers, the free ones, to step up and become paid
Mhm.
subscriber because in last 5 months, I'm barely stretching to pay my bills.
I'm
This is how bad they come at you. I
saying.
have been demonetized on Facebook.
Mhm.
I've been demonetized. And again, this is not the platform. This is the supporters of MAGA who constantly report, like the number of reports that are going up on my Facebook. I cannot blame Democrats or liberals anymore because they love my posts.
Mhm.
Sorry to say that. So those who are attacking me personally to demonetize me on these platforms are the Republicans, the conservatives, the MAGA members. But the reason it's irrational, again, coming from a cult myself, studying so many cults, majority of Republican Americans now are part of this cult called MAGA. I'm not saying the MAGA movement is a cult. No, there's a cult called MAGA that exists. And the cult members will defend their cult leaders to death. That's why it's a cult.
Mhm.
This is where we have problems, and they will never change their mind. When I talked about the Qatar base, they were splitting hairs. They're not getting their own base, they're getting their own facility built inside our base. I'm like, that is their own base. No, it's different. Is it? They're going to have access to a building, to their facility that they're building for themselves, meaning everything is under their control. And Qatar is what this is too important. Two countries in America do not require code from our military to activate their any kind of jets or weapons. One is Israel, one is Qatar.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh. It's actually
It's
really
hideous. And I'm like, people, you do realize we have had incidents with Saudi Arabia soldiers who were training here, who walked up and killed three of our servicemen in our naval base.
yeah.
We've been here, and that guy had to use his own gun. Any Qatari soldier who is trained can get in one of these F-15s that we're selling them, and they're parking it in Idaho. They can get an answer is they're not deadly. That is not the point. Did you know if you're battling a snake that is not poisonous, it can still kill you? Because it has the power to wrap around a bone or your neck and strangle you. It's not always about the poison,
Mhm.
it's about the tool. They don't get it, they don't care. But wait until something goes wrong with that.
I
They're
there's
not gonna blame Trump either. They're
they'll
gonna blame Biden.
absolutely. I mean, it could be, we'll be 4 years down the road or even more. I see he's selling his Trump 2028 hats. And they will still be blaming, but there is something. It is. You're right. Cult is the only word for it, and it's very scary and it's very worrying because he is trouncing around the world and he's doing all sorts, and he seems to be a beyond criticism to his supporters in the US, which is very, very frightening. So, Red Green Alliance. Now, just for
Yes.
anyone who's not clear what that means, it means a left wing Islamic alliance, and of course, Iran knows all about left wing and Islamic alliances, pre revolutionary Iran.
Mhm.
So you said that you can see a red green axis taking place in the Middle East.
Yes, and the canvas for it is Gaza. As I said, part of this 20-point deal is that Gaza will have a transitional government led by Tony Blair. Now, right here, Tony Blair is the red part,
Wow.
the communist.
Mm,
Okay. You got Tony Blair. The members picked by Tony Blair are going to play the green side, which are the technocrat Palestinians who are Muslims. So
mm,
that's where the alliance is happening. However, one thing I have recently come to realize is wait, this connection cannot be empowered and connected unless the United States of America, that I'm digging into history and looks like we have always been the glue between red and green, is exactly why Trump had to get involved. So Trump administration is creating the red green axis in Gaza to further the agenda of the 15-minute city. By the way, this is mentioned on the 20 points. I'm not saying they're going to build a 15-minute city. It is mentioned in the points that there will be a built of 15-minute city in Gaza. And it's going to be led by Tony Blair representing the left communist and the Palestinians representing the green Islamic part
mhm.
of things. However, in a much stronger, stable scenario than Iran or Iraq or Kuwait or Bahrain. It's going to be a Western built red green city.
It is literally everything Trump supporters didn't want. I mean, you've got
Uh,
Tony Blair involved. You get a 15-minute city. Just everything that Trumpites were so opposed to. I mean, no, that's and they also wanted the Epstein files released until now. But I
uh,
mean, it's everything they said they were against. It's so insane.
well, here's the biggest part of what Trump supporters did want and are not getting America first.
No.
Tell me in everything we discuss, where is America at all? Forget about first. It's not even last. I said this a few days ago on my show. I said, you know what? I am tired. I don't care if it's MAGA. I don't care if it's Trump, Biden. I don't care who it is. I am tired of the millions and billions poured into Middle East. And this is coming from a Middle Eastern woman. Hello. I am tired of millions and billions poured into Middle East where we could use that money right here in America, build apartment buildings for our veterans who are homeless.
Mhm,
Let's hire and vet proper people for our child protective services so our children aren't being groomed and trafficked.
mhm.
Let's up the pay of our police officers so at least they have some sort of motive to say, I should go fight crazy leftists. I'm tired of it. We just sent $230 million to Lebanon their government to disarm Hezbollah. The moment it was announced, I'm like, oh, great, we just gave $230 million to Hezbollah. You're telling me Trump administration doesn't know the government is Hezbollah in Lebanon? And 2 weeks later, the Lebanese government came out and said, great news, we made a deal. We're not going to disarm them. We're going to limit their access to arms. I'm like, give us our money back. I want our $230 million back right now. Give it back. We're not going to get it back.
No.
That's one of the methods of money laundering. Middle East has always been the money laundering area of Western countries. We know that. But oh boy, Trump doesn't need the money to launder it. I'm like, okay, if you say so.
Isn't he giving $40 billion to Argentina as well? I mean, didn't Elon Musk go in there and fire tens of thousands of veterans and the people who can least afford to lose their jobs to save the government money so that Trump can give 40 billion on top of the endless millions and billions he gives to the Middle East, as you mentioned, another 40 billion for Argentina. But America's poorest, nothing. Nothing. They're literally being made poorer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the money given to Argentina supposedly is going to get us beef. We're buying beef from Argentina. As a very sad video of a farmer says, like, President Trump, if you give us, the farmers, that money, we will provide ultimately the best produced anything for our own people here.
Right.
And then you see the interview. Trump, literally, his response after being condescending to a decent question from a reporter, his response is, well, it happens. I like the president of Argentina. Wait, what?
Yeah.
So
you know.
you're taking my money.
He probably praised him. That's what they do. Let's get some money out of Trump. Let's call him a hero and a statesman. And let's just
Listen,
whatever they want.
you know how everyone has learned his method when the winner of Peace Prize calls him to praise him.
Oh my God.
Like, who would have thought that Norway government comes out day before announcing the winner saying we're concerned if we don't give him the prize, he's gonna target our investment in America.
No.
And MAGA people are like, I love it, he's a bully. No, you don't. You're scaring people from investing in our country. You're bullying people to pull their investment. Everybody wants to say Canadian boycott makes no difference in our life. That's a lie.
Of course it does.
You really think China cares if we put 100% tariff on them? I cannot wait to not be able to buy a tank top made in China anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to have to answer for his battle, for his miscalculation, for his ego. But yes, this country, our economy is about to collapse. I don't care how much people deny it and say economy is great. I have asked some of the people claiming economy is getting better. I'm like, is your grocery weekly dropping in price or going up? They're like, I haven't noticed a difference. I'm like, I have. I literally have changed my diet.
They're lying. They have noticed a difference. It just, the thing is, though, they're fed this constant diet from Fox, for instance, which just flat out lies. And he's shut down the government now, so he hasn't even got any statistics coming out. He got labor statistics and then fired the woman who led the department because he didn't like the numbers he got. If he's asked a question about this, like you said, if he's asked an uncomfortable question, he will call the reporter fake news and just shut them out. I'm not talking to you. You're AB. He doesn't. This is really, really, really dangerous. That this guy is the so-called leader of the free world. This is ruined. This is. I don't. It just gets worse and worse and worse.
And Marie, I had someone on my Substack saying, "What can we do to get you to sit down with President Trump, giving him advice?" I wrote back and I said, "I'll do it gladly, but you do realize the moment he hears my first sentence is going to kick me out of the room, right?" It's not that he doesn't have good advisors, it's that he doesn't listen to good advice. If it's not his plan, nobody's advice is good.
No. What would your first sentence to him be?
Bought out of Middle East, close doors, clean house. That's my first advice.
What he said he was going to do. No more foreign wars. Drain the swamp. Clean house. Politics. Just on a slightly different note, are you worried about? So we're looking at the immigration and the deportation and all that's going on in America. He closed the southern border, which is good. So like a stop clock. He's right twice a day. Are you? Is there a growing anti-immigrant sentiment in America? Are you worried, even though you're an American citizen? I don't really think for a lot of people that's going to matter. Are you worried about yourself and your own future in America, given
Yes.
because Trump is distracting from his incompetence by pushing the immigration thing. Every time he's in a corner, he comes out with they were sending all their criminals and asylums, and the routine he does. Are you worried about your own future as an American?
I am. I have only said this on air with Brandon House on his show because he's the person I have contacted. There was a time about 10 days ago, I contacted Brandon. I said, I need you to do a daily check in with me and get ready if they pick me up. I need you to pull all your favors. Don't let them deport me. Yes, that's where we're at. 10 days ago, I came to realize that there's a very good chance we will get to a point where they will revoke citizenships, naturalized citizenships. Because as of right now, you hear a lot of news you don't hear at other side of the news. We haven't been able to make a deal with Iran except Obama time ever.
Mm-hmm.
But Trump administration managed one agreement with Iran. The ICE immigration in America came to an agreement that Islamic Republic of Iran's regime is going to accept 400 deportation. Huh, curious. Okay, the first batch was shipped back with 120 Iranians being deported to Iran.
Oh, Jesus.
Not a single one of them tied to IRGC. Not a single one of them even here illegally. They were here with work visa, student visa. Two of them had green card. One of them was here with 6 years of work visa left. They were all revoked. They were revoked. We deported Iranians here, even a pastor who came to America. Yes, he originally crossed border illegally, immediately went to court, showed up, did his case. He received his A number. For people who don't know what an A number is, it's short for alien number. That means your case has been accepted by immigration to be reviewed. That's where you get your A number. So you're not undocumented anymore. You are officially under protection of asylum until your court is decided. He was one of the deportees. They just decided on his case. No, go. And they mentioned that we have their words, the government of Iran's words, that no harm will come to these people. I'm like, okay.
Oh well,
And we,
no reason not to believe that.
right? And then we send them from US to Qatar. Government of Qatar received them to transition them into Tehran, Iran. Really? So when they never make it home, when they disappear, who do we blame? Qatar? No, they're our greatest ally. Government of Iran? No, they gave us our word. This is where things are going. Most of the deportations aren't illegals. I know for a fact more than 2,500 Iranian in America are family members of jihadists and IRGC. Why are they not being deported? Where are they?
Because
You're deporting a pastor?
that's going to cause him trouble overseas. He is going to go for the low-hanging fruit.
Mhm.
America is teeming with jihadis. People like you just described. He's going to do nothing to them because this will cause conflict or potentially cause conflict with his pals across the Middle East. So he is going to go for people who have no power, who can't defend themselves, who can't fight back. And he's going to keep throwing them out so that he can keep his base happy, his base that cares about little except getting foreigners out. He will keep throwing them innocent people.
Yes, and
Happy and do nothing about jihadis because that will upset his paymasters in the Middle East.
and also two things here. One, it doesn't end with Trump. I posted a report on my page because due to a government shutdown last week, a citizenship ceremony was canceled. People showed up to go through the ceremony and was canceled. So I reported that. On the comments section of my people, those who support me, those who call me their hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Comments such as, good, don't accept any of them. I'm like, whoa. I literally took the time to respond to everyone. I'm like, You do realize the ceremony is after you already earned your citizenship. The
Mhm.
ceremony is the day you show up to be sworn in. Everybody claps, they welcome you as a citizen. Then they give you the certification. This happens after you have already gone through the entire process. You pass your test, you earned your citizenship. How dare you telling, well, sometimes few good apples need to be sacrificed. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. These people have earned. That was the moment I realized, well, Mrs. Cyrus, get ready. Because this very people who cheered your message for 10 years will
Exactly.
clap your deportation when
Absolutely.
they decide to revoke your naturalized citizenship.
Absolutely. I mean, this is. I mean, this is politics. This is, people who were your best friend on Monday will turn on you on Tuesday, and it's a
That is what a cult does.
horrible life.
That is
Horrible
exactly what a
life.
cult
Yeah, it
does.
really is. I mean, and you're critical of Trump as well, which probably puts you in an even more vulnerable position.
Yeah. And that's all right. You know me. The reason me and you we get along is we don't do what we do for any individual. We do it for our own reasons. And I don't care. I know I still have enough people who make enough noise to try to stop my deportation. But if that's what it takes for Americans to one day realize they sacrificed one of their own, I can't tell you how many times in last month and a half, Anne Marie, Americans have come to my page who supported me all these years and called me an outsider and a foreigner. It's now popping up. They're now noticing my commitment is to my people because I'm not an American. Though I have had my people tell me, why are you doing this? You're a citizen. Go enjoy your life. Let them face their problem on their own. But now I'm being accused of being an outsider.
He has opened the door and given permission to people to be their very, very worst.
Yes.
He's bringing the very worst out of people. You can see it all over the world. He's giving permission for people to operate on their worst instincts. The worst thing about human beings is now rising in them, and he has done that.
Yes. And that's why myself, Brian House, Andy Woods, we all say, if you are a Christian, you'll see who he is. We're not referring to Antichrist.
Mm-hmm.
We're referring to his role of making the biblical prophecies coming up. The way he has coordinated all of these, again, Turkey, really? We're selling F-35 to Erdogan now. A week after this whole thing can of worm open, he came out and said, we're going to start arming Syria under Jelani. We're going to start arming them. Where do you think our F-35s are going to land? In Syria. Trump is the one who did it. I'm preparing if my life lasts long enough, alive or in America. And Marie, I'm already writing a book.
Yeah.
The last day of Trump administration, whenever that is, because I don't think he's going to finish his term, whenever that is, I will publish that book. I will not let America forget what Trump has done. I will not let fake writers make him a hero. No. Every day as he does, I'm writing to that book. That book is being written every day based on his actions, his reactions. And I'm not even putting my 2 cents to it. Literally word by word of his own speeches, signatures of his own papers. America will remember exactly his role in what our next generation is going to face in Europe and in America.
Mm-hmm. And that is the only way to get to know him. Because I supported him. I thought he was a breath of fresh air. And then I listened to him, just as you. You don't have to listen to propaganda. You don't have to listen to this Trump derangement syndrome thing. You listen to him, and that's when you'll know what he really is and the damage he's really doing.
Yeah, but the TDS, I actually drew another Substack, which received a lot of backlash. I love it. That means I did something right. There are two TDS. There are two. There's not one. There is the popular one that everybody use, which is the derangement. And then there's the TDS that I call Trump defense syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
He does no wrong.
Hmm.
On both side of aisle, there are those who, no matter what he does, he's doing wrong. There are those that no matter what he does no wrong, and that is where he's very dangerous.
Yeah.
His truth, his true colors will always be hidden.
Annie, where can people follow you? Give us your Substack. Let us get you on some. See if we can get you some. By the way, people can follow my Substack as well, which is where I'm going to be putting this. Um, where can people find you on Substack? And
The best place to find me is Substack. That's where I'm most active and absolutely not censored at all. And that's liveuptofreedom.substack.com.
Live Up to Freedom.
Substack.com. Yes.
Yeah,
That's
I will put a link under this on Substack and on YouTube. Look, I'm concerned for you with this, with the way that America is going. I'm concerned for you more so because you're critical of that egomaniac. Um, I'm glad you've got people who can help and support you, hopefully. I sincerely hope that if they do turn on you, that you will find another country, and are not, you don't have to go back to those, to the ayatollahs and their monsters. Um, what is that? I mean, just on the final word, I mean, do you think you'll go to? Could you go to another country? Are you? What is your plan?
I my plan is to keep doing what I do,
Okay.
and truly not to be cliche, but I have decided that part I'm just going to leave it to God.
Okay.
He'll protect me if I need to stay here. If I need to go elsewhere, he'll push me that way. If I have to face the monster that I faced already as a child, then he'll push me toward that too. It's one of those times that is absolutely out of my hand, but I will not back down. I will not censor myself because that's how ego maniacs
Win.
gain power.
Mm.
Not comparing Trump to Khamenei or Mohammed or Marx, but sometimes you have to stand your grounds. Sometimes you need to risk it all. And when you go to bed, you don't know if you're here tomorrow or not, right? Aside the whole government thing, I may not wake up tomorrow morning for whatever reason. I want to make sure when I go to bed, I did my job, not as a reporter, not as an ex Muslim, none of that. I did my job as a child of God who's here to tell the truth. So that's all I got as far as my plan goes.
Annie, thank you so much for talking to us. I really, it's you've left me. I'm feeling quite emotional now. I really am. Thank you, and I stay in touch. I wish you nothing but the very, very best of luck. And my admiration for you was already off the chart. It is more, even more now. And thank you to everyone else. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to. I will put a link to Annie's Substack in the YouTube and the Substack connected to this. It will go up tonight. And you can obviously subscribe and like and all the rest of it with my stuff as well. Annie, thanks ever so much.
Absolutely my pleasure. You keep safe as well.
Yeah, I'll do my best.